Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
The WNBA is facing one of the toughest moments in its recent history, and the financial impact is becoming impossible to ignore. With Caitlin Clark sidelined, the league is once again being forced to confront just how much she means to ticket sales, television ratings, and overall fan interest. This is the story of a league struggling to maintain its momentum while its biggest attraction recovers from injury, and how failing to protect its brightest star could end up costing millions in lost revenue and missed opportunities.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In today's world of nonstop headlines and social media debates, separating facts from hype has become harder than ever. But one thing became impossible to ignore when Caitlin Clark went down with a quad injury on May 24th. Her absence revealed just how much attention and momentum she brings to the WNBA. Now, with another injury keeping her sidelined for an uncertain period, the league is once again facing the same difficult questions about its reliance on its biggest star.
Jump to her groin likely because of compensation, but the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
National television numbers took a major hit after Caitlin Clark was sidelined. Indiana Fever broadcasts reportedly experienced a dramatic decline in viewership, dropping from an average of around 1.81 million viewers with Clark in the lineup to roughly 847,000 during her absence. Whether you focus on the exact percentages or the broader trend, the message is clear. Her impact on audience interest is enormous. And this is where the situation becomes even more remarkable. Instead of preparing for a moment like this, the league once again finds itself dealing with the consequences of relying so heavily on its biggest star without a clear backup plan.
Went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%. Yikes. Across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th, national TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark continued doing what she does best, packing arenas, driving television audiences, and bringing new fans to the WNBA, the league found itself under growing scrutiny over how it was managing its biggest attraction. Many critics argued that a player with such a massive impact on ticket sales, viewership, and overall league interest deserved stronger protection and better long-term planning. Instead, debates often shifted toward whether the physical play against her was simply part of the game, leaving many fans questioning whether enough was being done to safeguard one of the league's most valuable stars.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her.
What's even more remarkable and frustrating is that we've seen this exact scenario before, yet the WNBA seems determined to repeat the same mistakes. This isn't the first time the league has watched its ratings, attendance, and momentum take a major hit after losing its biggest attraction. Instead of learning from the past, it feels like history is repeating itself all over again. It's like touching a hot stove, getting burned, then reaching out to touch it a second time while acting surprised by the outcome.
Really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the Fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more.
If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe. The financial impact has been both immediate and significant. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games dropped sharply during Caitlin Clark's absence, with some seats falling from around $86 to as low as $25. Average ticket prices across the games she missed also declined dramatically, highlighting the influence she has on fan demand. Several road games that had been moved to larger arenas in anticipation of Clark-driven crowds suddenly faced the challenge of filling thousands of extra seats. Even the highly anticipated Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever rematch saw ticket prices tumble from roughly $210 to around $95. This was the same matchup that previously attracted more than 2.2 million viewers, becoming one of the most watched WNBA games ever. Without Clark on the floor, however, many casual fans simply didn't view it as a must-watch event.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan has also been among those questioning how the league has handled Caitlin Clark's rise. Brennan has argued that, with more people watching the WNBA than ever before, every major incident involving the league's biggest star receives enormous attention and shapes public perception. Her broader point is that when a player attracts such a large share of the audience, the league faces greater pressure to ensure its product is competitive, well-managed, and presented in the best possible light. To many fans, that raises an important question. Is the WNBA doing enough to protect and support the player who has brought unprecedented attention to the league?
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
The pattern has become increasingly familiar. Caitlin Clark continues to face intense physical defense, and many of those moments quickly become major talking points across the league. During the 2024 season, several of the league's flagrant fouls were committed against Clark, fueling an ongoing debate over how officials and the WNBA handle physical play involving its biggest star. No matter how she reacts, the criticism seems to follow. If she stands her ground, some say she's too emotional. If she ignores it, others claim she isn't tough enough. It's a situation that has left fans divided and sparked continued discussion about whether the league has found the right balance. At the same time, the business impact remains a major concern. As television audiences, ticket demand, and merchandise sales fluctuate with Clark's availability, the league continues to face questions about how dependent its recent growth has become on one player and what that means for its long-term future.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through?
The most frustrating part of this entire situation is that many people believe much of it could have been avoided. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as a highly anticipated rookie, consistently praising her teammates and handling the spotlight with composure beyond her years. From the beginning, the league had an opportunity to build around her popularity while continuing to promote the sport as a whole. Instead, ongoing controversies and constant debates often overshadowed the basketball itself. The effects of Clark's absence reach far beyond television ratings and ticket sales. Companies that invested heavily during the league's recent surge in popularity are now closely watching how the WNBA responds. More importantly, the situation has sparked a broader conversation about the league's priorities. Fans expect a professional sports league to protect its biggest stars, promote competitive basketball, and create an environment where the game, not the controversy, remains the main attraction.
Admired by Caitlin. She's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players. You don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The comparison with other major professional sports leagues couldn't be more obvious. Imagine if the NBA allowed its biggest superstar to absorb repeated hard hits for months while insisting it was simply part of the game. The backlash would be immediate, and the league would face enormous pressure to respond. Yet many fans believe the WNBA has been far too slow to address similar concerns surrounding Caitlin Clark. Whether that perception is completely fair or not, it's becoming a growing problem. More importantly, it's beginning to affect fan confidence. When viewers start saying they're tuning out because they no longer trust the consistency of officiating or the league's ability to protect its biggest attraction, the issue extends far beyond television ratings or ticket sales. It becomes a question of credibility, and that's far more difficult to rebuild than any financial loss.
You know, I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabrey. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves, because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
What frustrates many fans even more is the belief that the WNBA has had multiple chances to address these concerns, but hasn't done enough to change the conversation. Each controversial moment involving Caitlin Clark has fueled calls for clearer standards around player safety and consistent officiating. Instead, league responses have often emphasized that physical play is simply part of basketball. Ironically, Clark's injury has also highlighted just how significant her impact is on the league. The reported drop in television viewership after her absence has only intensified that discussion. Even with those numbers drawing attention, critics argue that the league continues to focus on competitive balance and physicality without fully addressing the concerns many fans have raised about protecting its biggest stars. That ongoing debate has become just as important as the games themselves.
Day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA. I love the way they play the game. But we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She going for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money?
The solution isn't complicated, but it does require the WNBA to make some difficult choices about the future of the league. If it wants to be viewed as a premier professional sports organization, player safety and competitive integrity have to remain top priorities. That means applying standards consistently, improving transparency around officiating, and making sure the focus stays on great basketball instead of endless controversy. Just as importantly, the league has to recognize the enormous impact its biggest stars have on growing the game. Clark's absence has reignited conversations about her influence on attendance, television audiences, and fan engagement. Whether people agree on every detail or not, one thing is clear: her presence attracts enormous attention. The recent decline in viewership has reminded everyone how much interest she generates, and it underscores how important it is for the league to build long-term momentum while keeping its biggest attractions healthy and on the court.
What I saw walk into the game is what the media don't see. Thousands of kids.
Wearing what, Gil?
Kids. Huh?
What were they
Caitlin
wearing?
Clark jerseys.
Were they Fever jerseys? Were they Iowa jerseys? Were they
Wherever she played. It was whatever she played.
And that's what was more impressive to me.
It did that. It wasn't just it was Caitlin in the back.
For her style of play.
But her style of play. But it wasn't adults. Right. It was parents bringing their kids and their friends. Them seats was kids filled. Right. And that's what they don't understand. They don't grasp that part of it.
Perhaps the most disappointing part of this entire situation is that many believe it didn't have to unfold this way. The WNBA had a rare opportunity to use Caitlin Clark's popularity to strengthen the league's long-term future while ensuring its biggest attraction stayed healthy and on the court. Instead, her absence has reignited questions about how dependent the league has become on a single superstar to drive attention and engagement. Many fans now wonder whether enough has been done to protect and support the players who bring the largest audiences to the sport. The bigger question is what happens next. Will the league use this moment to improve player protection, build on its growing popularity, and reduce its reliance on any one individual? Or will it continue facing the same challenges every time one of its biggest stars is unavailable? The answer to that question could shape the WNBA's future for years to come.